everyone. This is Carmen Turner Schott. I'm here for Deep Soul Divers Astrology. Thank you for listening, joining. Hopefully, we get some callers today. This is my first show, so I just want to say welcome. And on this first show, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the basics of astrology and the sun signs, and a little bit about my new book, Sun Signs, Houses, and Healing, and moon signs, houses, and healing, and talk a little bit about each of the sun signs. And then, would love to take some callers to answer astrology questions. I'll be able to, maybe pull some charts up and answer some questions you have about your sun sign. So, the biggest thing about astrology is that it's energy. And I started studying astrology when I was 16 and started doing consults at 19 because to me, it was such a powerful tool of self awareness. And I became a social worker, a counselor, and realized that this tool was more powerful than, years of therapy and just talk therapy. Because when you know your birth chart and you understand the energy and the personality traits and the karma and all the energies that are affecting you, you can really gain strength and awareness about yourself and others. And so, the way I explain a birth chart for those of you that are new to astrology, maybe you never had your birth chart done before, it's based on the month, date, and year of your birth. And it's also the exact time and place of your birth is really important for you to really get an accurate chart. So it's kind of like when you're on Earth, the day you're born, when you're looking up at the sky on that day, time, year, place, everything of your birth, the planets are in a certain star constellation, which we call the 12 signs. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And they're in a certain area of the sky, which we break into 12 houses, is what we call them in astrology, 12 areas of life and 12 areas of the sky. And we take a picture of the sky on that day, time, place, year of your birth, and we put it on a piece of paper. And it looks like a wheel, and it's a map with 12 sections. And each house rules an area of life, which we'll talk about a little bit. And each planet falls in one of those houses, and it falls in one of those zodiac signs. And so that is what we call a birth chart. And so I started really, learning about this and teaching myself, and it validated my experiences and my personality. And so I'm a Virgo sun and Aries moon, and I have a lot of 8th and 12th house planets. And so I did a lot of research on those houses as well. For anyone that's listening or wants to ask questions about those houses, I have some books out there about that. But tonight, just want to say hi and kind of get started on the basics of the sun signs. And in the future shows, I plan on having some guests on and talk about different subjects and maybe even some authors and things like that. But tonight, just want to get a little start with the 12 sun signs and talk a little bit about how knowing your basic sun sign can help you heal, transform, and become more resilient. And so I'm going to start with Aries for anyone listening out there, any callers. Aries is the dates for Aries. The sun was in the sign Aries on March 21st through April 19. And so if you're born on a cusp, is what we call it, you may have traits of both of the signs. So if you're born on April 19th, for instance, you may have traits of Aries and Taurus. And so we call that a cusp born person. So you might resonate a little bit more with Taurus if you're born on that last day of Aries. But Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries rules the first house, and Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, which Mars is drive, physical passion, right? War, aggression, anger. So Aries are very motivated people. Aries is the warrior, right? That's their symbol, the warrior. They're go-getters. They like action. They don't like to sit around and wait. They are impatient. That's one of the things that Aries sun sign people have to work on, is really being calm and patient and taking time to plan what they're going to do instead of just reacting emotionally, because they go on their gut instinct, which helps them heal and overcome crisis. I always say that Aries is one of the most resilient sun signs out of the 12 sun signs, because they get over things pretty quick, and they're always looking to the future. They don't want to be tied down. They like their freedom. They like their independence. They like to move on quickly from things, right? And so Aries, specifically in my book, Sun Signs, Houses, and Healing, I talk a lot about how Aries can heal and how they can transform through difficult times, and what things they can do to self-care. So for Aries, they're known to be romantic and passionate and natural leaders. They like to be in charge. They don't really like working for anyone else. Aries like to be their own boss, right? And Aries tips for healing for them are being patient, balancing their emotions, because a lot of Aries are known to have a quick temper. And what helps an Aries balance that is managing their anger and managing those intense, powerful emotions they have. So they're known to be athletic, and physical activity is really good for Aries to help them heal. So if you're an Aries sun sign out there, exercise, and I mean like sweating, like you need to like kickbox, or you can punch a punching bag if you don't like to run, but running and physical, that high endurance cardio is really good for Aries, because it helps them get out all their nerves and all that pent up emotions that they have, right? And they value independence. They value honesty. They're very blunt, and they're very action oriented, very courageous people. But they tell you what they think, and sometimes they speak without waiting and thinking it through. And but they'll always tell you the truth. And so again, Aries is March 21st through April 19th. The second sign of the zodiac is Taurus, and Taurus is an earth sign. And as Aries is fire, so we start the zodiac with the fire. And the cool thing about Aries, I want to talk about too, is that they start the season, the spring, and that's why they are fire. It's the month of Aries is during the spring. Taurus is an earth sign, so they're more grounded, more practical. They rule the second house in astrology, which is money, finance, stability, comfort. Your values. The second house is your values, what's important to you. It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Taurus is slow to make change. So Tauruses are very connected to the past, and they don't like big change, and they have a hard time forgetting things and letting go of the past, especially people and experiences and memories, because they're very connected to their childhood. They're very nostalgic, and they're very they can be kind of stubborn and strong-willed. They're known to be the bull. They're the sign of the bull. And so they are patient though, and have a very earthy, calming energy. I find that whenever I meet Taurus sun sign people, you feel it at home with them, because they're just so naturally grounded and connected to the earth. So they do good out in nature, being outdoors, gardening, out, getting fresh air, out hiking near the water. All of that helps them rejuvenate. And Tauruses are hard workers. They're known to have a lot of goals, and they typically like nice things. Tauruses are known to like food and comfort and stability. So they like to eat. Typically, they like food, and sometimes they eat to comfort themselves. If they're upset or stressed, they can be stress eaters, right? And Tauruses typically also do like to exercise as well and be active in a way, because it helps them balance. And some tips for Taurus on healing, because they're ruled by Venus. It's interesting, because even though they're an earth sign, Venus is the planet of love and harmony and relationships. So that's what makes them a peacemaker. They like peace. They like harmony, because they're ruled by Venus, right? And they like affection. All the Tauruses I know are very affectionate people. They like touch. Taurus rules the senses, right? Sight, smell, taste, all of that. They rule that. And so it's very important to them to have hugs and to cuddle with their animals or their kids, right? They need physical touch. That's very big with Taurus people. So they heal by overcoming stubbornness and listening to the advice of others, because sometimes they think they know they're right. And this is what I talk about in the book. It's hard to change their mind once a Taurus makes up their mind. And so opening up to other people and listening and trusting people, and making decisions and taking action helps them heal, instead of overthinking and being a little bit afraid to make change, because they want that stability. It's good for them to make change, because they can heal through doing that. And then that's the biggest thing, finding comfort. They value comfort. They value having money in the bank, because that means that their family and their friends and their They're going to be comforted. They're going to have money to pay their bills and to get food and all of those basic needs. Tauruses worry about that because they want to be secure and safe. And so financial security is important to them. They value commitment. They value loyalty. And so, as an earth sign, they like people that they can rely on. And Tauruses typically are very reliable, because they're an earth sign, and they work hard and they support people. And so Taurus dates are April 20 through May 20. So if you're born during those dates, your sun is in the Taurus. So you're a Taurus sun sign is what we call it. And then the third sign is Gemini. Gemini is the dates May 21st through June 21st. Okay. And again, they're ruled by Mercury. They're air. So Gemini is an air sign. So in astrology, we have the 4 elements. And so air signs are intellectual. They're smart. They like communication. Geminis love to talk. They love to communicate. They love to share knowledge. They love to be social. They're friendly. They're adaptable. They're mutable. They're changeable. Geminis are known as the twin. So they can have 2 different personalities, 2 different sides to them that you may not even know that this other side exists, right? And that's the thing I like about Gemini is that they're fun. They like to have fun, and they're witty, and they're sarcastic, and they can make you laugh, right? But they're restless. They like to be on the move, and it's hard for them to sit down and just rest and do nothing because mentally their mind is on a high level. So they're always thinking, they're always trying to think of something that they can, read, write, or do, right, with their hands, working with their hands, being outdoors, being out in nature, moving around, running, whether it's walking, whatever they're doing, they like to be on the move. And so it's hard for them to sit still. So tips for healing for Gemini is rest and communicating their feelings, because they think and they're excellent talkers, but sometimes they detach from their emotions and they really aren't feeling their emotions, right? They're just kind of talking about them and they're not feeling them and really being inside their emotional body. So I tell them, it's really good for them to connect to what they really feel, not just what they think. Okay, that's some tips for healing for Gemini, and finding balance in their energy, because Gemini suns can have a high energy. They're go, go, go. Mentally, they're always restless. So sleep can be hard for them, insomnia, things like that. So they really need to still their mind and get their mind off of things to sleep and rest. And that's big for their healing. And they value knowledge. They value communication, change. They like change. They get bored easy. Geminis tell me they get bored very easily, and then they want to start something new, or they start a project, then they change because they like newness. They get bored, so they need people in their life that excite them and that are fun and that mentally stimulate them, right? And so that's big with them. And they rule the 3rd house, which is communication. It's short journeys, neighbors, siblings, right? All this stuff that has to do with communicating, writing, teaching, moving around place to place in your car, in your neighborhood, right? Driving around, going home to home, going and visiting people, social, going out to eat. They like everything that's 3rd house is Gemini. So 3rd house people are that energy of Gemini. Geminis are natural teachers because they rule the house of basic knowledge. And that's what the 3rd house is. And Geminis are really good at explaining high level subjects to people on a very basic level. And they're really good teachers and typically like to write and like to learn, like to read, right? And so the 4th sign of the zodiac is Cancer. So Cancer sun signs are born June 22nd to July 22nd. And so, again, they're ruled by the moon. So Cancer is one of the water signs, and they are very intuitive, because the moon rules intuition. The moon rules our inner nature. It rules how we love, where we find comfort, where we find our home. And so the 4th house is associated and ruled by the sign Cancer in our chart, because Cancer rules the home and family. So Cancer is associated with the mother, the nurturer, the person that takes care of people. They like to cook. They like to take care of their friends and family when they're sick. A lot of cancers go into nursing or social work or working with children because they usually want to have, children of their own. They have a nurturing, very sensitive, very intuitive nature. They have very strong gut instincts, very emotional. Their emotions kind of come and flow, ebb and flow quite a bit because they're ruled by the moon. And so the full moon affects them very greatly. If your sun is in Cancer, and anyone that's a Cancer that's listening, I would recommend that you watch the cycles of the moon when there's a full moon, which we have on August 1st coming up here. It's going to be a full moon, and you'll probably feel intensified emotions more than other people. And that's very common for Cancers because that's your ruler is the moon. And so Cancers are water people. They usually love to be by the water or looking at the water. Water can be very healing for them. They usually like to swim, or even if they don't like to swim, they like to look at the water. And even a bath, even a hot tub, anything like that can be a self-care tip for Cancer. And Cancers are good at helping everyone else and nurturing everyone, but they need to nurture themselves and take time for their own self-care, right? And their own alone time, because Cancers need to have alone time. They love their family. Family is very important to them, and their parents, their loved ones, their friends. Everyone in their life is considered family to them. But they got to have alone time and that solitude to really recharge their batteries, so to speak. And so I always recommend that they prioritize family time, but also prioritize time for themselves and to nurture them. And they value family, they value comfort, they value creativity, they value trust. So Cancer has a shell. So the crab can put the shell up, so to speak, to really protect themselves. So out of all the water signs, they're able to put that shell up and protect that soft interior, because inside they're very, very sensitive, and they may seem kind of cold or detached, especially if they've been hurt or if they don't know you. But once you get to know them and you chisel down the shell, they're very, very nurturing and very protective of their friends and family. And so I love Cancers. My grandmother was a Cancer. I have a lot of Cancer friends. So they're very, very intuitive, very, very psychic, and they love to help people. Then the fifth sign is Leo. I'm just going to go through and hit the signs. We don't have any questions yet. And so I'm just going to talk and, uh, and hit all these signs here. So we got Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun. So that's why Leos like to shine, and the sun shines, right? Shines light. So Leos are known to be friendly, charismatic, charming, loving. They like to be on stage. A lot of Leos are entertainers. They're musicians, they're actors, actresses, politicians, people that are really good in front of a crowd and a group. They're leaders, they're the natural leader. Leo is the lion. So they're known for their courage, their bravery, their strength, and they're like a child at heart. Leo rules the house of children, the fifth house, and it's the fifth sign. So this is an easy way to understand what sign rules each house, because it just goes right in order of the first sign through the last sign, the 12th. So we started with Aries, and then we're going right down. So Leo rules the fifth house in the wheel. When you get your birth chart put on a piece of paper, fifth house is Leo. Leo is children. It's your self-expression. Leos have everything to do with self-expression. They want to share what they think and feel, and they want attention. I always say Leos like to be respected. They like to be given respect and trust, but they also like affection, and they like attention. And they also are very generous, and they're fun. They like to have fun. They like to go out and go to concerts and do things that they love to do, hobbies. They love to express themselves. A lot of them are artistic and creative. A lot of them are, CEOs of companies, because they work hard and they like to be the boss. They like to be in charge. Similar to Aries. Aries, they're both fire signs, so they both like to be leaders. And so Leo typically loves children. If they don't have their own, their children are drawn to them because they're ruled by the sun, and they just kind of draw children and express themselves. I have a lot of Leos in my life, and I think they really have those different natures. They can be very strong and very direct, but then they have a very sensitive side. They're like a little child at heart. And their dates are July 23rd through August 22nd. So I know some folks that are born on the cusp. If you're born on the cusp, that means that you might have traits of both signs. So if you're on the cusp of Cancer and Leo, you might resonate with the energy of both of those signs, because astrology is energy, and that's why it works. Everything is energy, and we're just analyzing the energy of the solar system and of the sky, and in these signs, and this is how we get their traits. So Virgo is the sixth sign of the zodiac. It rules the sixth house, which is the house of health and diet and routine and structure and work and coworkers. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So Virgos love to learn. They love to think. They love to analyze. They like to communicate. They love to teach. They love to write. They love to communicate with people, but they're a little bit shy because they're an earth sign. So Virgos are a little bit secretive and private and a little bit observant. They're known to be very kind of stand back and watch until they feel comfortable kind of energy about them. And they can be get a bad reputation. I'm a Virgo sun, and a lot of books are kind of negative about Virgos. And in my book, Sun Signs, Houses, and Healing, I give positive tips of being a Virgo. So Virgos like to help people, but we like to have things structured and organized. So we like to have a plan. Similar to Taurus, earth signs are very compatible because they all have a similar energy, but Virgo specifically is a perfectionist. So they have to be a little bit easy on themselves. I tell them, no one's perfect, and they're human. And so they have high standards for themselves and high expectations. They like to be efficient. They can get a lot of work done. They can be workaholics. Virgo and Taurus and Capricorn are the workers of the zodiac, and so we'll talk about Capricorn a little bit, but Virgo, they like to things clean. They like things organized. They can be a little bit obsessive compulsive, and they have a little bit of anxiety. Virgos worry. They're the worrier. They mentally worry about things, where Cancer is also a worrier that we talked about, but they emotionally worry. So they're always worrying about other people and if they're safe and if they're going to be okay. And, so they have these different energies, but Virgos overanalyze things and they overthink things a lot. And so they benefit from doing self-care by controlling worry, controlling negative thoughts. So the mind, body, spirit connection is very important for Virgo, because if they get worried and anxious and all this, it goes straight to their stomach, because Virgo rules the stomach and the digestive system. So a lot of them can get ulcers and just stomach cramps and stuff when they get nervous or anxious, right? And so they got to learn to really ground themselves and relax and take a deep breath, right? And making time to not have to be doing stuff all the time, because to them, achieving goals and getting tasks done makes them feel good. But sometimes they get too into work, and they really need to just chill and be relaxed, and it's okay not to be doing and getting everything clean all the time and organized and everything. But they value routine, they value neatness and knowledge, and they love to serve others. A lot of them go into the medical field, counseling, social work, nursing, medical, doctors, all of that stuff, and also bookkeeping, business, finance, numbers. Virgos, I see there's very practical Virgos, and then there's Virgos that are more into the helping professions. There's kind of, always kind of manifest differently. Some Virgos are really good at math. They love accounting, things that are very organized and structured kind of careers too. They do well. But natural teachers, they love to teach. They love to write, and they love to learn. But they definitely need to take time to take care of themselves and control worry. And then we got Libra. Libra is the seventh sign of the zodiac, and Libras are, they rule the partnership house. So they rule the seventh house, which is all about the other person, right? Libra is ruled by Venus, okay, just like Taurus. It's the love and relationship planet. Libra is the one sign that's not, its symbol is not a living thing. So all of, Aries is the ram, Taurus is the bull, Gemini is the twins, Cancer is the crab, right? Leo's the lion, Virgo's the maiden. And then you got Libra. Libra's the scales of balance. They're metal, right? They're metal scales. And that's why Libras need other people in their life um, to know who they are. It's kind of like their main identity comes through other people. And that's because they rule the marriage house in astrology. The seventh house rules our partners, our business partners, but also our relationships, our marriage partner, what kind of person we draw in relationships, who we're attracted to. But Libra is the peacemaker. Libras dislike any kind of conflict, and they can be indecisive because they always see both sides of an issue. You know, that they're that scales of balance. It's always looking at both issues, right? And say, well, I can see you're right, and they're right too. And they can be a little bit passive because they don't want to make anyone mad, and they don't do well in a toxic environment. Libras like harmony, and that's because of the Venus ruler. And same for Taurus. Taurus is like stability, and they like peace too. So it's that Libra energy, but Libras need people, and a lot of them, if they don't have a love relationship or a partner, they can feel a little bit lonely and lost. And it's just really important for them to know that it's okay to be alone. They don't have to have someone else to fulfill them. So that's one of the tips for healing, you know, finding balance in relationships, and prioritizing their own goals and needs, and not sacrificing themselves for other people too much, because then they can start feeling like they're not being who they really are. If they just go along with everyone else and go with the flow all the time, then their needs aren't really being met. So they got to learn to speak up, right, for their own needs and with their partners, and to prioritize that, and making tough decisions. They got to start making decisions, and not just waiting for someone else to make a tough decision, or for someone else to speak up. But they're here to find balance in their life in all areas: work, family, friends, everything. And that's how they heal. They also value, of course, we talked about peace, harmony, fairness. They're really into fairness, and they're into justice, you know, because the scales of balance, all about justice, right? And they value knowledge and beauty. A lot of Libras are drawn to the artistic endeavors. There's kind of two types of Libras that I see. There's the ones that are very artistic, art, you know, musical, creative, into acting, um, you know, playing an instrument, just very artistic side to them, really. And then they have a very intellectual side because they're air, you know, so they're an air sign. So they're very intellectual as well. But then they love pretty things, you know. They rule, you know, Venus is beauty. And so Libras are known to be attractive or have a feminine quality to them, right? And so their dates are September 23rd to October 23rd. So if you are born between those dates, the sun will be in Libra for you, right? And then we have Scorpio. Scorpio is one of my favorites. It's the eight. It rules the eighth house, which is one of my favorite houses in astrology, the eighth and 12th. But Scorpios, the dates are October 24th through November 21st. So again, if you're born on the cusp, you could have traits of both of the sun signs. But Scorpios are ruled by Pluto. And Pluto is the planet of secrets and hidden things, and it exposes things. It unleashes secrets and truths. It kind of like Pandora's box being open, and Pluto energy is intense. That's why Scorpios are water. They're a water sign, so they're emotional, they're sensitive, but they're deep. They're deep and they're intense, and they're very perceptive, very intuitive people. They are drawn to the taboo things in life. So they typically are very interested in mysticism, right? Life after death, the soul, why they're here, right? They're into why people act the way they are. So they're drawn to psychology. They're drawn to all of these deep mystical fields. They're drawn to law enforcement, you know, detective work, finding the answers, you know, finding criminals, finding researching something in depth. They're really good at that. But a lot of them go into healing, psychology, you know, therapy, Reiki, energy healing, you know, all kinds of things that are alternative kind of things, healing. They're drawn to that. But they're very private and secretive people. They like to make money. They like nice things, and they work hard. They're very driven. They have a lot of goals. And when they make up their mind, they go for it, right? They want to achieve, and they won't stop until they kind of get what they want. They're very tenacious. They're very very private. And the thing about Scorpio is everybody wants to tell them all their problems, but they don't really share a lot with anyone else. They like to keep things kind of secretive and hidden and private, right? And so the thing about Scorpio is that they have to trust you very deeply before they start to share anything with you. And so you have to earn their trust because it's not going to come easily. And so they're going to keep you at arm's distance until they really trust you. And they get a bad rap. Scorpios really get a bad rap sometimes because they protect themselves because they're the scorpion that has the sting, right? That can just come out, and if it needs to protect itself or its loved ones, and it's known to also be the ancient symbol for Scorpio is also the eagle, and so the eagle is that higher octave of a Scorpio. You know, there's the lower energy of a Scorpio, and then there's that higher eagle energy, which is, you know, a mystic, very spiritual, very much a healer, and can help other people with their problems. You know, Scorpios are very good at listening to other people and let you tell them all kinds of stuff, and they're pretty quiet. You know, they don't talk a lot. If you've known, I know a lot of Scorpios, and they tend to be pretty secretive and quiet until you really get to know them. And then they're still pretty quiet people. They're very deep in their mind or in their inner self, and sometimes they don't know how to express. They tell me they don't know how to share what they're feeling because it's so deep, and that's because they rule the eighth house, which is the house of death, transformation, rebirth, healing, secrets, hidden things, right? Like sexuality, trauma, crisis, unexpected change. You know, all of those things are eighth house energies, which is Scorpio, because Scorpio rules the eighth house in our birth chart. And so the people that have a lot of Scorpio energy or have a lot of eighth house planets, they have a lot of loss in their life. Sometimes they lose a loved one at a young age, a parent, a friend, and grief, and going through that type of trauma changes their life, and that makes them seek why they're here. And so that energy is very spiritual, very deep. And Scorpios, you know, it's one of those signs that they have to trust you if they're ever going to share anything with you. And if you hurt them, the biggest thing that I tell them to heal, tips for healing, is that they have to forgive others. And forgiveness can take some time for a Scorpio because they're water sign. So they may seem tough on the outside, but they have a very strong inner emotional nature that's sensitive. And if you hurt them, it takes a while for them to ever forgive or trust anyone again. So they have to learn to release the past. It's a little bit like Taurus, you know, releasing the past, letting go is big for Scorpio, releasing people. They're good at cutting ties and kind of moving on quickly from people that are hurting them or negative. They're able to just kind of, when they're done, they're done. A lot of Scorpio suns tell me that. Like, they'll give people maybe one or two chances, maybe just one chance, and then they will cut them off and they will move forward without them because they're able to do that. It's that Pluto energy. It gives them a strength. I find that Scorpios are very resilient and strong, and they're ruled, to me, the eighth house is Phoenix energy. You know, I call eighth house people phoenixes, and Scorpio people are the phoenix. So they're reborn and they die and mentally, emotionally, physically rebirth themselves into a whole different person. And sometimes they wake up and they tell me, I don't even know what's going on. I feel completely different than I used to. And so this is the energy of Scorpio goes through Scorpio sun sign people because they rule the eighth house, and this is some of their karma, some of their learning lessons, right? Their personality. I'm going to move on now to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign. Sagittarians are free spirits. They love to go outdoors and have adventure and be able to come and go as they please. They love to learn. They love to teach. They love knowledge, but they love travel. They love foreign travel. My mother is a Sagittarius sun, and she was my travel buddy for many years when I lived overseas in Germany, and we would travel all over the place with backpacks. And she still to this day wants to go back to Europe and do this stuff, right? So she's a free spirit, loves to travel, loves to see other countries and cultures, and that's a Sag thing. You know, they love that. And Sages are very optimistic. They're the kind of the optimist of the zodiac. They always see the glass is half full, not half empty, right? Kind of people. And that's because they're ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of good luck and good fortune. And Jupiter expands everything, so it makes people very generous. So Sages are born with kind of this hope and faith and optimism that they share with others, and this very easygoing nature. I love Sages. A lot of people I click with are Sag. They're fire. So they're blunt. They're known to be blunt and straightforward. But the thing about a Sagittarius is they'll always tell you the truth, but they do it in a very kind way. And that's what I like about them. You know, they'll tell you, listen, I think you messed up when you did that, or you had a spelling error in that document. Sorry, I found it. But can I help you do it next time? They're really honest. And that's the thing about a Sag. They're brutally honest, and they're honest and they're confident. And as long as you let them come and go and let them have their freedom and don't try to control them, they can have relationships, but they have to feel free. They have to have that independence and freedom, like similar to a Gemini, right? And that's because they're polar opposites in the sky. And we can talk about that on another show. But the basics of Sag, they're born November 22nd through December 21st. And Sages rule the ninth house, which is the house of religion, philosophy, travel, foreign culture, foreign religion. So a lot of Sagittarius people that I meet, if they haven't traveled far away from their home, they typically do, or they marry or have relationships with someone from a different country or culture. And this is something that I've noticed with people with a Sag sun, with Sag moon, or with a lot of Sagittarius in the birth chart, is they typically are attracted to people that are very different from them, like a different religion, a different ethnicity, a different culture. And that is who they're drawn to, because they love those things, and then they rule the ninth, and so they love to read and learn and teach. They're very good at that, and so Sag to me is the happy sign. It's the happy-go-lucky energy there. I haven't met a Sag that didn't have this ability to just adapt and overcome things, right? And some tips for healing for them is again, being outdoors, being out in nature, mountains, trees. All of that is really good for them. Having time to travel, having time to do what they want to do in their independence, and then having this faith. Their faith helps them heal. Their optimism helps them overcome tragedy and loss and all of these life situations quickly. So they're resilient. They're adaptable to change. Because they are a fire sign as well. They value a positive attitude. They value someone that lets them have autonomy and independence. They value honesty. They value adventure. They value learning. So those are all Sag things. We got a couple more signs left. I know we got some time left. And so Capricorn is Earth. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So Capricorn, I have a lot of Capricorns in my life that I know. My dad, my brother, my grandfather, one of my best friends, they're all Capricorn. And it's an earth sign. They are the worker, the career-focused, successful, down-to-earth, practical, realist of the zodiac. So realistic. They are very driven. They love to be efficient, productive. They rule the 10th house of career. So work, the public, what type of career are different careers that you're drawn to will be really seen in the 10th house. So Capricorn is known to be a workaholic. Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of them are focused on work, and to them, working hard is one of the most important things because they want to provide. They want to have money to buy a house, to own a home, to provide for their children, to provide education for their spouse, their family. They're very practical and very responsible. And the thing about Capricorns from a young age, it's kind of like they age backwards. They always say a Capricorn is very wise and like an old soul. Like when they're little, people think they're older than they are because they like to be around adults when they're little. They kind of respect people that are older than them. So they're drawn to people that are older than them because they have wisdom, they have knowledge, right? And Capricorns are not into silly fake stuff, right? They like practical, real conversations, right? And so when they're young, they can get bored with, superficial stuff. Scorpios the same way. They don't like fakeness. They like deep talk, deep connections. Capricorn is the water goat. I always say, even though they're an earth sign, they have that 1 foot in water, 1 foot on earth. So they are sensitive and they have an intuitive side to them, even though they're very, known to be very practical. Textbook, when you read about Capricorn Sun, being, hard on themselves, being, restrictive, being a little bit controlling. These are things that they have to control so they can heal, is control their need to be in charge and to control everyone and everything around them, because they don't really like change. The earth signs don't like change. And Capricorn is one of those. So Capricorn dates December 22nd to January 19. So if you're born between December 22nd, January 19, you're going to have the sun's in Capricorn. And so the thing about Capricorns, a lot of people don't realize, is that they're very hard on themselves, but they're also known to have a very funny sense of humor. So they can be very like a dark sense of humor, I say, that'll kind of say something out of the blue that's really funny, but it's kind of inappropriate, or kind of dark. And but they make you laugh, like when things are real serious, and and you're like going through something real hard, they'll make a joke, right, to try to lighten the tone. But it's typically like pretty, sarcastic and witty, kind of a joke, or kind of deep or dark in a way. And so they're very funny, even though they're known to be so, practical, responsible. I always say Capricorns, most people that have a Capricorn sun or have Capricorn moon or rising, or a lot of Capricorn in their chart, their success typically comes at a later age. So through my research, and in my book, Sun Signs, House and Healing, I talk a little bit about that, is that Capricorn typically has success later in life. It's, they're the goat, and that has to go up that mountain, right? The side of that mountain, their symbol is the goat. And they got to keep trying to go up the mountain, and they may fall. It takes them longer than other people to reach the top and to reach their goals, but Capricorns typically become very successful later in life. So because they rule career, they rule the public, they rule all of that good energy and good luck with work, and getting promoted, and being in a position of authority, being a supervisor, all these things they want, whatever it is they want, their goals, it could be being a writer, whatever a Capricorn wants to do, they plan it. They like to plan. They're strategic. They're business minded. So Capricorns are known as the business person, right? Very business focused, very smart with business and finance, real estate, all these different things rolls Capricorn. And again, Capricorns heal when they find a work-life balance, and when they taking vacations, spending time with their family and their kids, and really getting away from work. And that means when they go to the beach for a family vacation, they're not on their laptop. They're not on a phone call for work. And that can be hard for them to balance and to really pay attention to. So that's kind of my tip for Capricorns to heal, is to really get away from work. Seriously, so they can balance and relax, and acknowledging their emotions, because they can cut off their emotions and just be very hard on themselves, or very rigid, right? Very serious, very responsible, like this, like a bird, and they take on a lot emotionally. So it's hard for them to talk about their feelings, because they're just uncomfortable doing that. and they're a little bit shy and they're a little bit, they don't know what to say. But it doesn't mean they don't feel things deeply. They just don't always know how to express it. And they like to do things for you, is how they show their love. Working, paying bills, taking the trash out, cleaning up something, helping with the kids. They're more practical minded people and realistic day-to-day life. And so they value legacy, structure, status, achievement, financial success, work. Okay, these are things they value. Aquarius. Aquarius is born January 20 through February 18. And I'm gonna see how many minutes we got left. Yeah, I don't think we have any calls or any questions yet. So Aquarius is the air. They're an air sign. And so they are known to be the rebel. Okay, Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus, which is all about awakening. So it's awakening, it's space travel, it's independence, freedom, non-traditional type of energy. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is a very unsettled energy that is all about change and freedom. Freedom is big with Aquarians. So they tend to be very unique, eccentric, and creative people, very scientific. A lot of them have two sides. There's either they're very good at math, science, innovation, they're innovative, technology, computers, all that stuff rules Aquarius because they rule the 11th house, which is all about groups too, groups, friendship, connecting with other people in a deep way. But being a part of a group and having these networks, these social connections, they're very friendly and they're very intellectual, very smart and intelligent people, but they love their freedom. A lot of them tell me they never marry, and some of them tell me they don't want to marry because they can live with someone, they can have relationships, but a lot of them need an untraditional, a non-traditional relationship, because to them they'll tell me marriage is just a piece of paper. This is what Aquarians tell me, and to them it's just a piece of paper. Why do I have to do what society wants me to do? Right? They question the rules. They question, well, why do we have to do this every day at work when it's not working? Why can't we do this? So they're very innovative. They're very smart people. And so they want to be seen and heard, and they want their freedom and independence to do what they want to do in their passion. But a lot of them are drawn to humanitarian efforts, humanitarian causes, but they're networkers. They have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of friends, they're into computers, into technology, social media, right? Texting, learning, reading. They're very, very smart. And I know a few that have gone into counseling, social work as well. And that's because they really like helping people on a larger scale. They get a bad reputation sometimes, Aquarians, that they're detached from their emotions. But they do care. They're just an air sign. So they think about things more than they feel about things. So that's Aquarius, and they're born January 20 to February 18, and they roll the 11th house. And then the last sign, as we wrap up, I think we're almost out of time. Pisces, they're born February 19th to March 20th. They're ruled by the planet Neptune, which is all about spirituality. So they rule the 12th house, which is my other favorite house, that is the house of finding your oneness with God. It's your the house of subconscious mind, dreams, sleep, escapism, service to others, solitude, peace. Finding a connection with a higher power is a Pisces thing. Creativity, artistic abilities, helping people that have problems, helping people heal their pain. Pisces are wide open. They're the two fishes, right? They're the fishes of the zodiac, and they don't have boundaries. So they're learning to have boundaries. So it's very important for a Pisces, if you're born February 20 to March 20, to have boundaries with people, because you're very empathic, very wide open, and you draw and just attract all kinds of energy, right? And tips for healing for you, for Pisces, is to balance emotions, protect your energy, take time alone for solitude, to meditate, pray, do yoga, listen to peaceful music, whatever you got to do, but you've got to have alone time as a Pisces, because that's how you recover your energy and replenish so you can go back out in the world, because Pisces absorb everything around them. If something's negative, they're going to feel it. If something's positive, they're going to feel energized. So be careful, who you spend time with if you're a Pisces sun. And it's important that you're kind and compassionate and imaginative, and you value sleep, you value serving others, you value being creative, but make sure to protect and give yourself a lot of love and energy when you're a Pisces, because it's so important for your overall health and well-being, because you can be kind of known as a martyr, where people come to you with all their problems and you try to fix them. And Pisces have to learn that they can't change other people. No one is ever going to appreciate all that they give. So Pisces have to learn that sometimes they have to love themselves the way they love others, because they give, and then they can feel depleted, and then they can feel like a victim sometimes, like no one's there for them, and they're there for everyone. But the Pisces that I know, a lot of them are drawn to the helping professions, and also artists, wonderful artists. I know a lot of Pisces that are musicians and artists and just do amazing work, doing amazing things. And so that's, a quick rundown. We didn't have any questions or callers tonight, but a rundown of the 12 signs, and, and more in my book, Sun Signs, Houses, and Healing, Build Resilience and Transform Your Life with Astrology. Each chapter is dedicated to a sun sign. A little bit like I went through real quick, but in depth, I give an in-depth analysis, the symbols, the elements, how they can self-care, how they can be resilient, how each sign can heal, how each sign can, become adaptable to change. And in introduction, the thing that I really hope people go out and get this book, because I write on a basic level. So anyone that knows nothing about astrology, if you don't know anything except I'm a Aries or whatever, you can pick up my book and you can understand what it all means. And the whole introduction is the basics in a very practical way, just like I was talking on this show. I try to teach astrology on a basic level so anyone can resonate with it and understand it and use it in their life. And so this book will really help you learn the basics. And I just go through everything that you can, the energies of the planets, the houses, what they all mean, the symbols, how to pull up a free birth chart, which you can do on astro.com, or you can visit my website at carmenturnerschott.com. And I have a free astrology report and wheel that you can sign up for my newsletter. And I will send you your own birth chart and birth report, and you will get to know a little bit more about your whole chart. But this book is great because you can look up your friends and family and get tips on how, to your parent your kids, get along with your partner, right? Your parents, your coworkers, your boss, all those basic things. It'll give you a very hands-on, practical tool is what astrology does of self-awareness. And it's my passion. And on this show, I want to, focus on astrology and bring astrology into my discussions when I have guests on and things like that in the future. But I'm very happy, to be here. And I guess we don't have any callers or anything. Any questions come in at all? Nothing yet. So we got a couple minutes, about 30 seconds. So at the end here, what I want to share is astrology is a map of the soul. It's energy. You can go to astro.com. You can go to my website, carmenturnerschott.com. You can get a free birth chart and wheel. What you'll need to know is your birth month, year, date, time of birth, place of birth, as specific as you can get. Send that to me, and I will get you your birth chart, and I will email it to you. And then pick up my book, Sun Signs, Houses, and Healing, and you can start looking up everything in the book and all the basics. So thank you for being here. And, again, hopefully you can, learn the basics and ask any questions you have to me through my website. If there's something, that you heard that you want to know more about, would love to have you call me. through my website, through Facebook, and join the show. Well, we'll be the second, fourth Saturday of every month, and would love to have you call in, ask questions, and I can pull up birth charts and everything and kind of get into it that way.
Audio